Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to look at we'll start with Nasdaq. And remember, we looked at this one I think about 5 days ago, and we did predict that we're gonna have like a short-term drop or short-term pullback kind of a thing, which is what we got when the price moved from this, when the price printed this. So that's where we got that short-term sell, right? So if you're new here and you like this style of trading, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. So let's get started. All right, so we are going to start with the highest time frame. You know, that's how we do things here. We just need to check for short term, what do we have this side. So we're not going to waste a lot of time because we did cover this in the previous video. So I'll just give you all the things that you need to look out for on this bigger time frame, and then we move to the next one. Right, on our monthly chart, the only thing you need to take is that the monthly is still very much bearish, and we still have that bearish trend line there. And I said that for as long as that bearish trend line is not yet taken out, or for as long as the price does not go over this area of resistance, the bears can still push the price back until this point. But if the bulls are to like move the price to the other side of the trend line, then that's when you will say the structure has changed. But until that happens, on the bigger scale, remember on your H1, H4 daily, you can have a very nice bullish trend, but that's not the case here on the monthly. You need to remember monthly is gonna give you that bigger view, of the markets. And then for as long as the structure that side doesn't change, we cannot yet have a trade that we will say we will place our TP there. Like that would be like we are dreaming. Yeah, so we need to first make sure that for us to have like that short, like long-term trade, the structure on your monthly must allow you to do that. The structure on monthly must be what must be pointing in that direction that you want to take that long-term trade in. So here we can see that when we hit that trend line for the first time, we had this candlestick, which is a bearish engulfing. All right, and then but that bearish engulfing was suggesting that the bears are still defending their key structure, they're still defending their trend line, they're still protecting it. But the bulls, the next month, what did they do? They came back again. You can see it's the current candlestick is about to close, and it looks like it might end up being an engulfing structure, but in the opposite direction. You can see that the bulls have quickly reversed the impact of the bears when they did what? When they formed that engulfing to the downside, they didn't allow them to continue with that momentum to the downside, but rather they created their own momentum to the upside, sort of to counterpart that. So it's only a matter of time to say that, are these bulls going to continue and break this, or are the bears going to push them down again? But until the bulls are on the other side of the trend line, we will say the structure still remains bearish. So that's how you should do things. Now let's quickly check what we have on weekly. So this is what we got on weekly. Weekly is still very much I think it might have changed now, because we were saying when we did the video the other day, we said it was bearish and we had a bearish trend line there. So we're still kind of bearish because of what? We haven't yet removed this resistance. So now we are at a very critical area. Remember when we made the video, I had said that because we touched the trend line, as you can see here, we touched it there, and then after touching the trend line, the candlestick that touched the trend line ended up being this, which is what? Bullish rejection candlestick. And we know that the bullish rejection candlestick, if it forms like this, is more like it could be a sign that the trend could continue, if you get what I'm saying, because of what? The bulls are pushing the price up, they are rejecting it, so they could continue like that, which is why then following week what we got was that the bulls did really continue because of what? They managed to push it up, and now we have touched the resistance. So if you're someone that's been holding those trades, managed to get trades in between, and then the price, now you need to understand that we are back at a very critical level, which is what? A very strong area of resistance, because this resistance, when it was formed here, it pushed down and break these areas of support there. So that's why we're saying it's a very critical area, and they can still defend it and push to the downside. So the thing is, when the bears took over from their zone defending it, they pushed it down, but they failed to create a new low. And I told you that when you are bearish but yet you're failing to create another new low, like basically you're failing to create a lower low. That's a sign that you're no longer as strong as we were when the price was coming back from maybe around there, coming to the downside. The moment you fail to give us a new low, that's when we're like, these bears are no longer that strong, which is what we had here. Because when we touched that, we failed to create a new low. But rather what the bulls did was that, because the last time they're the ones that tended, they forced the price to turn there, they did the same thing, and the sign was that when we got to that area, what do you see? We saw the price printing out bullish rejection candlesticks. That's a sign that the bulls are rejecting the price. And where are they rejecting the price? They are rejecting it exactly at that level where they rejected it the last time. So this was a sign that they could go back to at least the trend line, which is something that have been saying when we're doing all these this Nasdaq analysis in the past past week or the other week, right? So now that we are here, what do we think is gonna happen, right? Remember, the structure is still bearish, but the bearish structure that we got is no longer that strong. Why are we saying that? Because we didn't get that lower low, right? And because the resistance that we are at is not fresh anymore. We hit it before. You see this level here, we hit it before. So if there were sellers here at this resistance, remember they are there waiting, and then they were filled when the price touched that. So those sell orders, you'll find that when the price came here for the first time, it took all of them. Now the price is here again, you'd find that they are not there anymore. That's when the price can end up taking out the zone. That's what we're saying. Yes, we are bearish, but we are not that strong. But in terms of you buying, you cannot just buy, whereas you can see where the price is located. There on your smaller time frames, you need to make sure that you do it with confirmation because of what? The location on the bigger structure, right? So let's move to the next time frame, which is our daily chart, and see what we got here. So this one currently is bullish because I think we went higher than this point here. Yes, last week we went higher than it on Friday. So it means now on this daily chart, we are definitely bullish. And when we are bullish, we need to just make sure that we bring those bullish structures. So you can put your trend line, a bullish trend line there, and say we are bullish. And then I've got a bullish trend line. And then I've got this as my nearest support, right? It's not yet a good one for you to take trades from. It's not good at all. And again, remember that if the price was to come back here, you need to think twice before you take a trade. You need to make sure that on your smaller time frames, you can only do that with confirmation, because we did mention that the price is inside that weekly resistance. So if that weekly resistance forces the price to come down, you are not going to force it to go up. You need to make sure that when the price gets there, if you see signs that it might go up, you still need to remember that buy trade is a short-term one. For as long as there are still obstacles on the way on a bigger time frame, we cannot have a long-term trade from here, which is what I mentioned on the monthly, to say that for us to say we will take a trade and maybe close it after 3 months or so, we need to make sure that there is no obstacle on those bigger time frame, because I cannot take a trade and then I'll say I'm taking a buy trade and then I'll exit the trade after 4 weeks, for instance. But yet we are inside an obstacle on weekly. So what makes me think that the price will break that structure? I mustn't think like that. If the structure is hit, it means I've been taking those buy trades. Now we have hit an obstacle. I don't know what's going to happen here. I need to get out. All right, so here you need to make sure that when you're going to be taking that buy trade, it's with confirmation. And you can see now that we went higher than these guys, it means the next resistance that we got on our chart will be this one. So maybe the price will go up there, because remember, this resistance that we just marked here is still inside that bigger weekly resistance. So maybe it will get there, but you need to make sure that those buy trades, you take them with what? With confirmation. So let's check what you got on H4, because remember when we were making the previous video, when you spoke about anticipating a drop, because the price was still here and it did go down to around this, and then it carried on. You see, so the reason why we are anticipating that drop was because of what? The price was around that weekly trend line. It was like around that weekly trend line, where we did mention that because of where we are located, this thing can end up reacting there and then drop again. So it was something like that. Let's go back to H4 and try and fix that. Yes, I think it was it? Yes, it was around this. I think I was using a different broker, but we were here at the time. And then we said because we are on that trend line, and then we can end up dropping, and we did that. So that's why we were calling for those short-term shorts in the previous video. Now the structure looks like this, and we know that on daily we are bullish. The only negative thing is from weekly, where we are inside the weekly resistance. Right, so now let's see if I wanted to take a buy trade, because I can see these bulls are very much in control. So if I wanted to join them, what do I do? If you wanted to join the bulls and you're trading H4, you will just say around these guys here, around this, when the price, or if the price does that, you need to remember it's coming from a weekly one. What if that weekly zone causes the price to go all the way down? So I don't know that. So when the price gets to this support here, you will say, because we are still bullish on this H4 and I want to join this bullish trend, so if I get confirmation there at that support, I will take that short-term buy trade. We are saying it's short-term until the price has removed that obstacle that we are having on the bigger time frames, because we can't have a bigger or a long-term trade, but yet we don't have a backup from the bigger time frame. You get what I'm saying? Because of what? When someone makes a long-term trade or long-term projection, they make it based on the bigger structure to say that, oh, okay, my weekly looks like this, or my monthly looks like this, and I think because of how it looks, maybe we are bouncing from a support. I can take a buy trade from this monthly support, targeting that monthly resistance, which maybe might take about 2 months, 3 months to reach that. So that's how you make your long-term trades. You can't make a long-term you can't predict for long term, but yet you are trading on M15. It's not gonna make sense, because by the time the price to get to whatever area you want to exit at, it's gonna encounter a lot of obstacles. So you can only do that on the bigger time frames. That's why I'm saying if you are trading on H4, we can see it's definitely bullish. So taking a sell trade, it's gonna be very difficult for you to predict where the price is going to turn. Yes, we know we are inside that weekly resistance. So for you to predict selling, you're going to have to wait for the price to give you structures that it wants to maybe go for a pullback or change the structure completely, because of what? The structures are bullish on these time frames. So if you want to sell, you wait for the price to give you signs that it wants to go down. And when you're taking that sell also, remember, you can't say it's a long-term one, because of what? The time frame that you're executing on, the structure is not pointing to the downside. So you just take that sell, and then you are targeting the next opposing structure. The same thing that we did when we were calling for those shorts here. Remember, when we were calling for those shorts around there, I said to you, you are going to do that until the price touches this. Then when it touches that, you are out, because of what? The structure was bullish at the time. So why would I want to take a trade that I will say I'll go all the way down? We are saying this is just a pullback unless if the price breaks the structure, then we'll say now the trend is bearish, then we can hold for a bit longer. But until that happens, anything that you take against the trend, it's for short term, and you're just going to do that with confirmation until the price touches the next opposing structure. So let's check our H1. Do we have anything that will maybe say we can go for a short-term sell? Let's see. So on H1, this is where things might look a bit different, because of what? We can put our bullish trend line here. The structure is definitely bullish. We can put our thing there, and we can have the thing here, the nearest zone there. So another thing that you need to pick from this is that when the thing ended, when the week ended, what did we have? We had bearish engulfing, which is what we have in there. Basically, bearish engulfing is when the bulls are pushing nicely, and then the bears come with a long candlestick and wipe them out. So that's what a bearish engulfing. So that could be a sign that, okay, that the bears are becoming something. They are doing something. So meaning they can end up reaching for that support. And this support is not a good support. The guys that are in the mentorship will know that, because not every support or not every zone you have on your chart is worth you risking taking a trade from. You need to assess it and say, yes, I see the trend is going up. I see this is a support, but does it qualify for me to trade from it? Then you'll be like, no, it's not a good one, or yes, I can take it. Yeah, so this one, by looking at it, is not a good support. So we can say that if you are trading H1, that engulfing could be a sign that will maybe suggest that the price could come here. Now let's do one more, which is M15, where most people trade from. So this is our monthly, not our monthly, our 15-minute chart, and the 15-minute is definitely bearish, because you can put this there and say the trend line was taken out, and these smaller areas of support were taken out. Now we are at another area of support, and at that area of support, now the difference is that look at what the price is doing. So if you are trading on M15, your next opposing structure or your resistance would be the one there at the top. That's your resistance, and this is your nearest support, right? We know that the structure is bearish, and on H1 we said that the price has got a higher chance of coming to that H1 support, because of what we saw it forming bearish engulfing. Here on M15, if you're someone that's executing on M15, you would say that here's my thing, I'm on M15, we are at the support, but we are bearish. So now the structure that we're getting, or the candlesticks that we're getting at that next opposing structure, at that support, is that the price is forming sort of rejection candlesticks. If you're someone that likes to take a risk, you can try and execute those ones, maybe with a buy stop, but you'll be targeting this, because remember, you need to always remember the time frame that you're trading on. So if I'm trading on M15, if I'm buying on M15, it means I will target M15 resistance as my take profit. So here, because the structure on M15 is bearish, if you decide to say that, yes, we are at the support, I see we are forming some signs of reversal, then maybe you want to go with the short-term buy because of what? The structure is bearish. That's why we're saying it's a short-term. Then you'll be targeting that, which is what? Your resistance there, the one that pushed the price down and caused it to break the bullish trend line, and caused it to what? To break those areas of support, these ones here. So that's what I'm saying. If you feel like the signs that you're getting at this support are strong enough, then I would suggest that you only trade it with what? With buy stop. Not, you can open an instant order and then you'll be targeting this, because when the price gets to that, because of what that guy did, yes, it can continue with the uptrend, but because of what this guy did, if it goes up and breaks that high, it means now we will have that trend line coming here, the one that was broken earlier. We will have to adjust it, because of what? We will have gotten a new high. But until that happens, we will say for now, if their price was to get there, you can end up pushing more to the downside, because of what? We are bearish, and this will be like confirmation and then pushing to the downside. And remember, on H1 also, we got that where the price ended the week with that bearish engulfing, which we said it was most likely going to continue. It can continue until at least that. Then now let's go to M15, and you can see that that's what I'm saying. When the price gets there, if you get another reason to sell, then you'll be targeting this guy here, which is what I had marked before. That's it. So for now, if you're taking this a buy trade on M15, it's a short term, because the structure does not look the same as like when the price was coming up, because there, when it was coming up, it was definitely, everyone could see that it was bullish. There's nothing that is suggesting the bears. But now from H1, you can see that there is that engulfing to the downside, and on M15 there's that break of the bullish structure and then pointing to the downside. So that could suggest that the price could come here. You see, this could just be a pause, and then we continue dropping, or we can go up, retest the resistance that did all of that, and then drop. But this is the target. We are most likely to come there, but you need to have confirmation before you can enter. All right, guys, that's all that I wanted to share with you with regards to Nasdaq structure. So if you're new here, guys, this is how we do things. And if you're interested to learning, in learning all these concepts in deep details, in full details, you just let me know. You can hit me up on Telegram, and then we will take it from there. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. If you have watched until this point, please like the video. All right, thank you guys.